At the prepper's fireside we stay, ready for that fateful day. Stories shared and hearts alight, around the fire every night. Water stored in jugs and tins, bunkered down through thick and thin. Maps and routes all drawn and laid, preppers live unafraid. At the prepper's fireside we stay, ready for that fateful day. Stories shared and hearts alight, round the fire every night.
Yes, hello, welcome to another Prepper's Fireside and a new intro. Can you tell when Mike gets bored? Did you like my little half second of the Royal Engineers flag during Hawkins's bit there, Andy? Did you notice that?
I loved it, mate. he can't deny it now. It's official. YouTube official.
I still look too fat in the intro. I mean, just saying, you've picked the worst parts of the video.
Listen, I'm an editor, not a genius. I'm not a magician.
I don't have a good look, so I don't really give a shit. Use whatever footage you like. Doesn't matter.
Maybe if I just put your bit closer to Brian's, it'll make you look thinner naturally, like having the fat friends on your arm.
It'll make him look anorexic, you cheeky cunt.
Well, I don't know, like I'm probably up there, probably a little bit fatter than you, I think. Not sure, but
No, I'm pretty sure you know. You're not documentary fat yet. You're just a bit soft around the edges.
An odd introduction to the podcast. I know it's just like we're still in the green room here. We'll bring a tape measure to the Scottish Prep meet and we'll resolve it all then.
I can tell you that now. It's about 2 inches. It's fine.
I'm going anywhere near that with a tape measure. Andy, the Bombardier, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. All things considered, yourself?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Considering the current climate, as good as we can be. Alan, the world survivalist, how are you doing, sir?
very good. Yourself and everybody else?
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, good. Brian, how are you doing? Excellent.
Back at work tomorrow.
Huh? Do you remember what it is?
Vaguely. Understand the concept. So I'm on a phased return tomorrow, so.
I mean, I thought you were like a hairline away for going for universal credit. Or,
No. I'm going to try and get back and see how long I last before I need to get the up. So, see how it goes.
Universal credit seems to be the way to go. My friend's on it and can get some holiday every year. I've not been on holiday in 5 years. That's what I get for working.
I'd get paid 70% anyway. I don't give a shit.
Anyway. In the chat, we have lots of green names, which I love to see. Miss Worm is in there, and Evil Girl, our moderator, is keeping you all in check. Brian joined the channel at the start. Thank you for becoming a member, Brian.
I was a member. I'd bought a few members as gifts, and then they must have ran out or something. I just noticed and clicked it.
Appreciate it. And so did Snapdragon. Thank you for becoming a new member as well. This was a last-minute topic that I threw out to everyone. 114 people in here after 3 minutes, by the way, so spot on, guys. Welcome to everyone watching on the Bombardier, Scottish Prep 73 and World Survivalist channel. You're all welcome. We're going to do situational awareness, and we're going to touch on what we can touch on defence in the UK, self-defence, home defence, things like that. Now, here's your warning. We have our own disclaimer across the bottom. I think that's the right one. It might be the right one. Anyway, we've got our own disclaimer across the bottom, but for you in the chat as well, you could also be monitored just as much as we are. Please do not refer to improvised deadly weapons and things like that, okay? Have a conversation about self-defense. Make sure it's non-lethal. By all means, talk amongst yourselves. But if you start saying ridiculous things like go and use this to stab somebody in the eyeball, you'll be silenced for a while in the chat. So that's your warning, fair game. We are all law-abiding preppers here. There we go. Is that okay, gents? Everyone okay? Right, now how do we kill all the bastards? No, I'm just...
I see I've managed to screw up my name. It says World Survivalist, but... Yeah.
You had the double the survivalist you used to be.
But how vain is that,
Yeah.
There's no need to shout it.
I'm going to get changed by Depot.
Right. So, Not OPSEC, wrong one. Situational awareness. It's something that we all have spoke about many times before, and probably a lot of us know about it but don't practice it because of being part of a nation that walks around like this, 3 inches away from a phone away from the face, and most
Phone
people are them
zombies.
sheep. Yeah, and especially relevant to the moment because of being on trains and buses and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I'll come to you first, Andy, on that kind of front. Yeah, I mean, you must see it all the time. Are you like that? Do you keep an eye out and stuff? Do you have AirPods in when you go out?
No, I don't, mate. I don't have my AirPods in when I go. I think, mate, I mentioned it maybe not last Fireside, the Fireside before, maybe. Purely coincidentally, mate. Obviously, we didn't and thought this was going to happen, and I said about wearing earbuds when you're max and that type of thing, and to not do it. And it is the biggest. What's the phrase? It's the biggest disadvantage, mate, you have to put those earbuds in and to think that everything's going to be okay. Like today, unfortunately, we learned, or last night, sorry, we learned that everything won't be. It's your biggest. It's your first line of defense, mate. If anything goes wrong, is your hearing.
Yeah.
Now, if you take that away, you're at a massive disadvantage. So no, mate, I don't wear. To be fair, mate, I used to wear them if I was walking around. If I just went for a walk in the area on the estate and I wasn't in the city centre. But after today, I'll be honest, mate, even that stopped. So I'm not wearing them at all anymore.
I used to be honestly. I used to be someone with headphones on the train and often fall asleep for a while as well. So all sense is gone on the train. That used to be me, like, because I commuted so much on the trains. Sometimes it was just nodding off beyond my control. But 2 headphones on is a nightmare.
I think I think one of the worst things as well, mate, up here now is obviously, me and the Anne get the metro in to town if we're going to go into town, and it only takes me like maybe 12 to 15 minutes to get into town. And so, if anybody didn't know, they've just replaced the metro. So they've got all new metros, and the good thing, mate, about the old one was it was separate carriages. So if you went on example the first one, you then couldn't get through to the second, third, fourth, fifth. It was all segregated. So when I was waiting for a metro,
separate but without the doors through it.
Yeah. So so each one, mate, was like linked like toward each other. So once you're on one carriage, you couldn't get through when it's physically impossible. So if I was waiting for the metro, I would just, if there was anyone dodgy, I would just wait to see what carriage they wanted, and I would go on another one. And that was the first layer of if anything happened. But now they've replaced them, mate, it's just one big metro. So you can now walk from one end of the metro to the other. There's not even a door. It's just one massive open space, mate, now, which would be a nightmare for if anything had happened on there.
That happened, definitely. I mean, I used to do that before I got on the train. When I used to commute into Manchester on the train, it was rush hour. I used to position myself on the platform purely for the base. I knew I was going to be squashed up against 6 people, so I was looking, who would I rather be squashed up against? This guy that looks like he's sweating profusely, or these bunch of skinny kids that are not going to take up much room, sort of thing. So, not that I wanted to be pressed up against skinny kids. Just let me throw that out there. This came out all wrong.
God, it's getting worse.
Right, let's stop this and go live again. Anyway,
well, there's a dark side I never knew, but never mind.
Alan, do you get trains or anything like that?
Do you know, I don't use public transport very much these days. I use trains and buses and stuff if I go on holiday abroad because I like to, get around outside. But I mean, like you, there was a point in my 20s where I commuted a lot. I used to work and live in Abingdon, which is Oxfordshire, and I used to get the train from Oxford to Houston and then up to Waverley in Edinburgh, and then on the way back down it was to King's Cross and that way. So I did that every week for a couple of years. So I did a lot of being on trains, and just like you, I spent most of that time asleep on the corner of a chair somewhere, but it was slightly different times. It did get me thinking. See the ear, having earphones and earpods and things like that. There is a way that you could use something like that to your advantage, though. Like Andy's saying, I think it's a terrible idea to be sort of have a noise in your ear and blissfully unaware of your surroundings. But what you can do is put something in your ears that gives the impression that you're listening to something else, when in reality you're actually just listening to everybody around about you. Plus, it also gives you this notion of like you can easily appear distracted, so that you're not drawing eye contact. I mean, we're all guys. We've probably all been in that situation where we were younger, where you're with a you see a crowd of other guys, and they kind of say, what you looking at, mate? Even though you're not looking at them at all, you're not doing anything at all. You're minding your own business. And that happens. You can find yourself on the carriage of a train or a bus, and there's like a drunk crowd of football fans or something. But if you're sitting there in the corner with your pretend earphones and, looking at a magazine or your phone or something, at least it gives you the excuse to appear like you're just blissfully unaware of them and you're staring straight ahead and you're not intimidating whatsoever. So I can see there being some utility to it. You could maybe even use like hearing aids to fucking fine tune it so you can hear better. But
well, I've heard of people at the gym putting them in just so other people don't talk to them, stuff like that.
Yeah,
not necessarily having music and stuff like that. And there is a way you can set it up to be a kind of, so if you've set your earbuds up on your phone, but you've got a voice recorder on there, it will then set up the microphone so it amplifies the sound outside as well.
Yeah.
So that there's ways of doing that. Brian, I mean, you're the oldest one here, so you must have been on a train before they invented the automobile. So, what's your experience with it?
I don't need the handle in here. There we go. That's the one. My wife's always said that I'm paranoid. And I don't think I'm paranoid. I think life's just made me cautious. So I've always been, or tried to be very aware of my surroundings, especially travelling. I only use public transport when I'm working away in London. And like Alan said, that's something I've done and do. If I'm travelling, I'll have headphones on purely so that I don't need to talk to or engage with people who I might not wish to do so. Mm-hmm. And like Andy said, I'll try and pick some place where there's less wallopers kicking about. So avoiding drunks, avoiding groups of young single guys, avoiding any potential flashpoints. That doesn't make you paranoid. It doesn't make you a shite bag. It makes you use common sense. Why seek a problem when you can avoid it? So situational awareness isn't paranoia. It's just an exercise in common sense.
Yeah. And it's, I like the words, trains and buses make your butt cheeks itch, says Kane. But it's true. It's the same for buses and stuff like that. But there's so many people. Do you think, it's probably a stretch, but do you think when things like this happens, it opens people's eyes a bit and you'll probably see less people on the trains with the headphones in and paying more attention, even if that is short-lived now?
No, because they still got to go to work. They've still got to take the kids to school. They've still got to commute. And mass transit is a requirement for most people in society that are in outlying parts of the city or to get into city centres. So they don't have that luxury because they've still got to get on with their life, and they should still get on with their life.
Yeah.
Because this isn't a daily occurrence, but it's a shock. And it should be a shock. But will it make people change their habits? No, because we've spoke about this a million times. If there was a power cut tomorrow and you bought a generator, 2 days later they'd all been selling Facebook Marketplace. Is yesterday's news the day after tomorrow?
Yeah. I mean, that's the mentality of people, right? But with our mentality, we have to kind of be vigilant. I think a lot of us in here, 158 people in here at the moment. Thank you very much. Don't forget to hit the like button, whichever channel you're watching on. Smash the like. Is some sort of alert system. Now, this doesn't have to be like an alarm system. I mean, back in my day, Andy, it was the bikini alert level. I think they've changed it since. Is it still bikini alert levels?
Bikini, I've never heard that, mate.
That was the military.
Black
special.
special.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't the thing when I was in.
What was it? What was in place of it? Your alert level thing was it? You know, like the Americans had DEFCON, we had the bikini alerts level, which was like black special and stuff like that.
To be fair, mate, I might be lying there. It might have been what you're saying.
I know. I'm pretty sure it's not now. Somebody mentioned it had changed. I just wondered if you knew. Anyway, the point of it is your level of alertness, because you can't go off the MI5 one because that hasn't changed in the last 2 years. No matter what happens in the country, it just doesn't move. They're too scared to move it up, so you panic buy. They're too scared to move it down in case something happens, and so that's the system. I'll come to you guys if you have anything like this. I'm going to just quote the one that I've put in my document, my situational awareness booklet, and that is using a 4S system. So it's easier for people to remember, civvies to remember, as it were. Snoozing, soft focus, scanning, and spring. And there's different military methods to this and stuff like that, where it's action and stuff like that. And snoozing, no one ever should be at. This is engrossed in your phone, headphones, daydreaming in a world of your own. Never be at that stage. Soft focus is low and passive. This is the baseline for everyone, all right, during peace times. Nothing like this has happened. It's peace times. You should still be low passive. That's checking your surroundings on a regular basis, being aware of where you are and stuff like that. Scanning is high and active, so medium, so checking exits, escape routes. A lot of us probably already do it. If you go into a restaurant, you want to know where the emergency exit is, etc. And then spring is your action phase. That's something is actually happening right now, and I have to execute the plan that I've been thinking of in the scanning phase. So it's a 4S system, nice and easy to remember. There's all sorts of different ways. I think the US Air Force, they did observe, orient, decide, act. So it's still a 4-tier system like that. So yeah, Andy, have you got anything in mind similar to that?
To be fair, mate, I think I'm pretty much at the moment. I'm pretty. I hover. I would say probably about 80% anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I go out and probably. To be fair, mate, it's probably symptom of serving. In fact, I'll tell you when it kicked in. And I think I've got a touch of hypervigilance now. And I went to see a comedian, mate, in the town hall in Newcastle City Centre. I can't remember who it was now. It's relevant anyway. It was a comedian, and we were sat, mate, up at the top, and the lights had went down. And so imagine my, right in front of me, mate, is the stage. So I'm sat here looking at it, and on the left hand side at the top, I saw like the ushers running up and down the side through the fire exit. And as soon as that happened, mate, something clicked in me, something switched. And I couldn't take my eyes off all of the exits for that. That's why I can't remember who the comedian was, mate. I can't remember the show because I was that much on edge. And I don't think that probably would have been maybe 6 years ago. And ever since then, mate, I've permanently been hovering about 80%. Did
you find out what it was?
I think maybe, mate, afterwards, I think I'd asked what it was. And it was something so mundane, mate. It was. Again, there was nothing to it. Like maybe they'd forgot the ice cream and they're bringing the ice cream up like the fire exit. Like it was something so ridiculous. But my mind, mate, went into overdrive of the fact of it's dark. The ushers were whispering to each other. They were running up and down the side of where the fire exit was,
with a sense of urgency. Kind of thing, yeah.
And ever since then, mate, I don't think I've ever switched off. To be honest with you.
Yeah, you just constantly at that kind of third tier just before action. It's a good place to be as long as it doesn't consume you, right? So
100%, mate. Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, mate, I quite like it, which is the other thing. Like I quite like being like that. Like I said, it doesn't hamper me in any way, and it doesn't impede me.
I think that's why I don't drink as much now, because I don't like not having that sense of awareness kind of thing. Brian, do you operate that kind of same sort of levels of like awareness? You know, tone it back a bit when you're out relaxing, or?
I don't drink very often, once or twice a year, and I've never ever got drunk to the point that I don't know where I am and I don't know what I'm doing. Because I wouldn't.
We tried at the Scottish meet, but he weren't for biting.
I don't know if it's a control thing or what, but I would never like to get to that stage that I don't know where I am and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't distrust people, but I tend to think that you're born with an ingrained biological early warning system, a sense of unease when something doesn't feel right. We've all felt it. You walk into a room or a situation, or you encounter a person or people, and you feel uneasy. But I think these days we just ignore it more often than you should. If you feel uneasy in a situation or surroundings, in my opinion, you should listen to that and you should get yourself out of there, because what is ingrained and you're hardwired to be like that.
Somebody somebody told me, mate, in Afghan, and I can't remember who it was now, so I can't even give the credit for it. But he told me that or his theory was, I don't know who told him. He said that gut feeling that you get, that's your subconscious telling you that something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's your body telling you that something's wrong, even if you aren't perceiving it. And he was like, that's why that's why 9 times out of 10, your gut instinct is not right, 'cause it's your body telling you that something's not right. Whether that can sense something else, but it can sense maybe something in the environment. It can pick up something that your brain can't perceive.
But when you think of it, we process that much, but we see and hear that much. You fixate on a thing, a person, or a subject, but there's all these other things impacting your hearing and your visual sphere all round about you. And that might make you feel uneasy, but you don't know why. And I genuinely believe it's no hocus pocus. I don't mean it to come across like that. I just think you should trust your instincts in a situation and don't overrule them, because it doesn't make you stupid. Worst case, you walk away from some place or someone. So what? Who gives a shit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and that who gives a shit, or what people think. I think that's what stops people trusting that gut a lot of the time, like, because they don't want to stereotype. So just because this guy is 6'3" with tattoos head to toe, in a leather jacket, looking mean with like bruised knuckles, I can't judge him because he might be a really nice guy. So I've got to go and sit with him and not you've got to judge a book by its cover if you're being situationally aware. As far as I
think you've got to trust your instincts, and I don't think 9 times out of 10 they won't serve you wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Because from the minute you're born, you're vulnerable, and your body and your senses are attuned to help you stay alive. And as we get older, we drown that out, we don't listen, and we become complacent. So you'll go on holiday and people will be running about dripping with jewellery like Mr. T, pissed, walking up alleyways that you wouldn't do at home, right?
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that here. But when you're on holiday, it's okay to drop that social awareness, to drop that common sense approach. And I don't think you should do that.
No, you shouldn't. But I mean, it's easy done, right? It's the whole point of holiday is a break from the mental drains of everyday life. What about you, Alan? Are you on? Are you at red, orange, yellow?
Yeah, I've been hyper vigilant probably since birth. I genuinely just believe that's the way I am. I have to actually kind of suppress it when I go on holiday and stuff, and give the outward appearance that I'm not being overly vigilant, because you could be to a point where you're like overly paranoid and you're searching every exit and stuff. There's just no point to doing that. You just have a depressing life. But I am naturally hyper vigilant, and everything Brian just said is true. I read a lot by a guy called Sam Harris. I've mentioned him a couple of times in this podcast. He's also a neuroscientist, and he's talked about the gut instinct that everybody knows the feeling of. And there's nothing woo-woo about that. That's a real thing. It's called the somatic marker response. It's a genuine biological response that we evolved to have. Almost all mammals have it, and primates have a very particular type of somatic marker response, which alerts them to not just danger, but also something out of the ordinary. So everybody thinks that they're looking forward like in a straight line, but in reality, you're actually looking all round because your eyes are round. That's why if you're walking and sometimes you get that feeling that somebody's watching you from a top window, you didn't imagine that. It wasn't a sixth sense. It's just the top part of your eye literally seen the thing that was slightly different, and it sent that response to your brain unconsciously. And you looked up because you see the noticeable difference. And you get it a lot in the wild. You see shapes in the woods, you see shapes in the clouds, you see dark patterns. If you spend a lot of time in the wilderness, you get that feeling sometimes just based on a little sort of noise or a shadow, and a lot of the time it's nothing, but sometimes it's an animal. And we evolved that because, you know, a bloody saber-toothed tiger might attack us, or, you know, another human might attack us. But that's a real thing. And what you're saying, Mike, about people oppressing this feeling and pushing it down, that's also true. And we've only been doing that for the past, from what I can make out, the past 30 or 40 years, and it's got worse over the past few years. And it's purely a Western phenomenon, by the way. But so many women, unfortunately, have died because they've got it ingrained in their head that, yeah, there's a dodgy looking guy down there in the underground car park where I've parked my car. It's 2:00 in the morning. I'm finishing the night shift. But, you know, he's a black guy and he's big and I don't want to be racist or, you know, nasty. So I'm just going to proudly walk down there. I'm a proud, independent woman. And then you get raped and murdered, right? That's because that's a bad man. And you've suppressed your instincts to avoid that. I would avoid that. I don't think I'm going to be raped and murdered, but I don't know.
I don't know. On a certain line, mate, you've got appeal.
Well, you never know. But this is the thing. It's the suppression of the norm.
We'll let you know. We'll let you know, Alan, on the second week of December.
Well, it could be you guys that get all of the attention. You know, you don't know anything about me. I could be a complete weirdo for all you know. But
oh no, please stop.
We hope so.
But yeah, I mean, it's also profiling as well. Profiling gets a bad name because law enforcement used to use profiling all the time, which makes absolute bloody obvious sense. Of course, you're going to profile the most likely people to commit criminal acts. Doesn't matter what they are. If we suddenly get a spate of people dressed as clowns committing crimes, I'm going to be on the lookout for clowns. Do you know what I mean? It's the very obvious thing to do, but because we've been told over and over again to suppress these natural instincts and natural emotions, this is why people let their guard down. And letting your guard down is the biggest problem. It's not that you should never get on a train with a man if you're a woman, or you should never get on a train if there's people on there that look different from you. Of course you should. Otherwise, we won't be able to function in a city. But you should do it with caution. You should do it with a little bit of awareness. And is it okay to wait for the next lift, or is it okay to wait for the next carriage? Yeah, of course it is. You know, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, 5 minutes late is better than, you know, never arriving, right? I just mentioned that I'm going to go through the comments actually before I go on to carry on, because there's been quite a few comments. Norfolk UK Prepper said, I'm thinking of buying a stab vest. We'll go into personal safety and stuff later on. Sofa Survivalist, what's the shelf life on food bits I find in the sofa cushions? Just taste them and find out. You know, that's.
Are they related to you, Al? The Sofa Survivalist?
You know, that's Mark. That's Mark that set up that account, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've copyrighted that name, so he owes me something.
Yeah. A spray can of deep heat is good to carry in case you're spraying an ankle on the go. Be careful not to get it in your eyes, though it could burn and cause temporary discomfort. Yeah. What are you talking about? But thank you. Really appreciate that. We'll go into that, like I say, at the end. If you go to a place to sit down, always sit with your back to the wall. Do you all
especially in prison?
Yep.
Yeah. In the showers. Genuinely, just around the table, do you all do that? If you go into a restaurant, do you sit? Would you pick
I prefer a corner
to sit, or do you
where I can see the door.
a corner to see the door? Yeah.
Not necessarily, mate. If it's there, I'll take it. But as long as I can see what's coming from behind me, I don't mind. So, say for example, if I'm sat somewhere and say the bar would be to my right and behind the bar is like a massive mirror, and I can see who's come behind me, I'm quite comfortable with that. Obviously, if you had your back to the wall, that's gold standard, isn't it? But there's other options available to me that I would feel comfortable with.
Yeah. What about you, Alan? Do you pick your seats specifically when you go into a place?
Yeah, if possible. I mean, I don't stand and argue with a waiter if I get seated in a restaurant somewhere that I don't want to be. But I will always try and sit, you know, with my back to a wall so I can view who's coming in and who's going out. When I book flights, I always make a point of spending a lot of time booking where I sit. I've got a couple of weird reasons why I do that, but most of it isn't to do with plane crashing. It's literally to do with if a crazy person is on the plane. You know,
keep away from the door.
There's good places to sit. If I'm on a train or something like that, I'll like to be in certain places, certain aisles and things like that. And again, that's just a hypervigilance thing. But it depends on the scenario. That's the thing. So sitting in one part of the plane for a certain scenario might be the worst place to sit for another. And so you just have to weigh up what you think is good. And
yeah. I mean, you all must eat in much posher places talking about being seated and waiting. McDonald's don't care. I just sit wherever's free in McDonald's. That's what all I do. So yeah, it's a good point though. Thank you for bringing that up. Snapdragon, ladies and gentlemen, should use cross-body bags with locking zips to prevent bag snatching and theft. Yeah, it's a good tip. I have to be hyper vigilant at work for my situational awareness. Being we had someone pull a knife today. He was pissed as a. Oh, yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, I've worked in town centres and with Dorman and stuff. You've got to be hyper vigilant. Massive thank you to Mark's Adventures, £5 super chat. This evening I'll be mostly watching the Fireside chat with fellow preppers and Hawkins. When he says that, I just have the Monty Pythons. I will be mostly watching. I'll be mostly eating. That's the accent I have. New City Prepper sent 2 super stickers as well at $4.99. I can't see them on here. I apologise, but thank you for them. So I'm going. I'm not the only weirdo changing carriage, Brian. So there you go. B is on.
Always listen to your gut instinct. And
Gut instinct.
yeah, your butt instinct is sit with your back to the wall, but that's a different thing. Family and friends will try and tell you you're being ridiculous. You're not. You're doing the right thing. If it feels right to you and it's harming nobody else, it's the right thing. It's always the right thing.
100%. Question: machete attack on our bus a while back. Now when I'm there, I keep my back to the wall. Dizzy when I keep checking 360, but advise this limits escape. Any advice stood in open? I mean, it's all about awareness at distance, right? And you can train your peripheral vision, I would say, more than anything. So rather than just spinning on a spot looking in all directions, it's most likely entrances and exits and things like that. This danger's not just going to appear if there's an entrance to said bus station. That's probably where I'd be facing and monitoring in that kind of situation.
Sitting next to a fat older guy like me, because whilst you can run away, he'll be chopping the shit out of me because I can't escape. So that'll buy you a bit of time to get out of the bus station.
That's the zombie, yeah, the zombie theory. Someone who runs slower. Does he have biker gang patches on? If so, totally trusting him. Talking about the 6'3" guy. Depends on which patch it is, right? It depends. And thank you, another YouTube member. We've had 5 people become members in this stream so far. Thank you. 195 people in here. Thank you for tuning in. It's being aired on all 4 channels. And during this or after this or at some point, make sure you go and check out everyone's channel. Like, subscribe and all that wonderful stuff.
See just on the comment about like the bus station and things like that. I've always found it to be a better, if you're in a place like a bus station or even an airport or a crowded square, like you're in Times Square or something like that. If you're on the edge of those places or close to buildings, those seem to be the better places when it comes to attacks, because a lot of attacks tend to happen like right out in the open, right in the middle. Car attacks, rammings, stabbings, random nutcases. They're attracted to going sort of nearer the center of where they see people to be. They don't tend to go the edges of places, so, and that allows you a little bit of cover as well to sort of get away. Plus it's the same concept of having your back to the wall. Plus you're less noticeable if you're standing next to a building and somebody's looking towards you. The contrast of the building behind you kind of allows you to camouflage yourself a little bit better in, whereas people standing in the open in the middle, they're targets.
Yeah,
it's the grey man approach again though, like we've spoken about before. I mean, you may well be on the outskirts, the periphery of that crowd, waiting on your wife, girlfriend who's in a shop or whatever. But that phone is just a social distraction that people think you're too engaged. One, you're not having to make eye contact with anybody. But the last thing in the world is you're distracted because you've got a shop window and you can see who's behind you. You've got a phone that you're the appearance of looking at, but you're well aware who's round about you and you can hear So you've got a window to see who's behind you, and you've got a phone as a distraction, so you don't need to make eye contact. All it is the grey man discipline.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Lee from the Bug Out is in the house. Hello, Lee. Always good to have him in here. Yes,
Mike Tango Wisco as well. Give him a wee
yes.
wave. He's a good guy.
I put a comment up of his before. Yes, yeah. Appreciate everyone in here. You're all good guys. Miss Worm will post everybody's channel at some point during the live stream, so don't worry, you'll all get a shout out. The next section, pretty much on my PDF document I'm talking about, says if it feels wrong, it is wrong. So we've already kind of covered that, gone through all that. Taking action without hesitation is the next bit. Don't let politeness kill you. So people are afraid to, like we said, some people are afraid to judge a book by its cover, but you also get that hesitation. Chaos is going on down, in a few shops down from where you are and stuff like that. It's that wait, or should I act, should I leave, stuff like that. How do you judge that? We'll go to Alan first because he don't look like he's paying attention.
I was actually just looking because I was watching the Black Belt Barrister before I came on the stream here. He did a video a couple of years ago where he was talking about preemptive defending yourself, where you think an attack is about to happen. Is it legally okay to do that? And he says it was. And I looked up the law he was talking about, and it says, from the little quote I've got here on my screen, it says preemptive force, if you genuinely believe an attack is about to happen or is imminent, is permitted. So you can do that. I don't think you have to be careful about it, because somebody could just be a loudmouth or a bit sketchy or drunk or literally have some sort of mental problem.
Yeah, self-defense is on perceived threat, not necessarily immediate threat. It's perceived threat, right?
But you have to justify it.
It used to be, well, a lot of people have this belief that you have to be hit first. The attacker has to hit you first or do something.
No.
And then you can try and defend yourself. And that's not true. And that's what the Black Belt Barrister was talking about. And that was the video I was looking up there. I can't remember the title of it, but he did it 2 years ago. So it goes a while back. But and it's different for in your home as well. You can be we'll talk about this probably at some point, but you could be a little bit more forceful in your own home than what you can be if you're out in public.
Yeah, I mean, standing your ground essentially. But I mean, with regards to this, it's when you act, right? When does that become? At what point in your mind is that just a domestic and it'll peter out, or it's something I have to react to? I mean, because if you reacted to everything, if you went to somewhere like a big shopping centre, you'd be running from exit to exit every 2 minutes because there's always something going on. So how does one judge that?
I think you react if you can't get away. If you've got no escape, if there's no way for you to avoid the situation, then that's when you can react.
If
it becomes something. Yeah, I mean, if you've literally got no way out and you think this is definitely a threat, something's about to go down here, then then use your instinct. Again, it goes back to the instinct to, try and countermeasure that or react to that. But you have to make a judgment call, because it really is also a case of looking at the person that you're going to be, because the second you initiate that, well, then it's happening. It's 100% happening then, So if there's a massive burly guy sort of, and I think he's going to attack me, and I suddenly say, I'm going to land the first blow here. Well, you've landed a blow, so it's definitely, you're going to get a blow back now. So that you have to be aware of that.
You've created the attack.
You've created it,
yeah. Andy, we talked very briefly before we started in the green room and mentioned United 93. Right, that's where they fought back during 9/11 on that plane. I mean, that's because they were getting word through that this had happened, and suddenly that proceed, if I sit here doing nothing and be good, I will survive this, had gone out the window, right? Do you think more and more people are going to get like that because the attacks are getting also? I mean, if somebody started going a bit nuts with any sort of weapon in a town centre now, I hate to say it, but I would be instantly thinking terror attack now. I don't know if that's what you guys are like, but it never used to be like that, but now it's getting that way. So you think more people will react like that and start and fight it?
So I think just on one that Alan was saying, mate, just about Black Barassa. So when we were in the military, mate, so the response had to be proportionate. So it's called proportionate force. So if there was one guy shooting us with a rifle, if we then dropped a £5,000 bomb at him, it's not lawful. It's not proportionate. Do you know what I mean? So that the response has to be to what you're met with. Now on the other end of that, so in response to your question, if something happened in the town centre, like Brian said, mate, on Discord, the first opportunity should be flight. When we talk about fight or flight, flight should be your first response. If you are in the middle of the town with your family and something happens, your first responsibility and your first action is to run as fast as you can for as long as you can and as far as you can until you're away from the danger. That is the best course of action. Now, if you're that's the best case scenario, mate. If you're in a town centre and there's loads of open space, there's multiple exits. If you are on, mate, that train, 8 minutes is an absolute lifetime if there's a guy on that train doing what he was doing. Now, in response to the Flight 93 guys, that took one man saying, if we don't do something, the inevitable is going to happen. What happened to the Twin Towers? Mm-hmm. Now, unless you've seen it, unless guys have, unless people in the chat have seen it firsthand, mate, how much that tiny bit of courage is inspiring. The same way that fear is inspired, fear catches on and it's contagious. So is bravery and courage. If you're on that train, mate, and you say to 5 of the guys, look, 6 of us versus 1 of him, maybe he's going to get 1 or 2 of us. But we at some point, mate, a decision has to be made. You can't use the flight option, so the fight option has to be engaged. And like Alan said, mate, you have to make a decision, mate. And the longer you wait, unfortunately, the reality is more people get hurt, and more people are seriously injured. There has to be a point. And I appreciate it's scary, and I appreciate it. People say, well, Andy's talking crap. He's sat in his comfortable room, and it's warm, and it's nice. True, but I've been in situations where people have had to make the decision to move forward and to neutralize a threat. That's what has to happen, mate. If like the guys have said, if you can't use the flight option has to be used. Otherwise, you're just going to be all stood at one end of the train, and the inevitable is going to happen.
Yeah, waiting. Yeah. Like say, if the platform hadn't been where it was, how long could that have potentially gone on for as well?
It's the judgment, the proportionality part of it that's the real judgment call. So, like Andy's saying about what you could and couldn't do, the sort of rules of engagement. I know that guys in the military in the UK, when they're stagging on, they have a rules of engagement where if there's a car racing towards them, they can shoot at the car, but the second the car passes them, they can't shoot anymore because the danger has now perceived to be passed. I don't know if that's changed now, but I know that was a thing at the time. The thing is with 9/11, when you're talking about the flights, prior to 9/11, people used to hijack airplanes. That was a thing that happened way back in the 60s and 70s. But they used to hijack it and then say, take me to bloody Iran and I want blah, blah, blah and all this kind of stuff.
And if you sat and be good.
And you just sat and be good and you were okay and things like that. After 9/11, I tell you what, if I was on a plane and somebody jumps up and tells me they're hijacking it, I will fight to the death. I do not give a shit about proportionality, and I'll use every little thing that's around about me to try and fight to the death, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm already dead. That guy is trying to kill us all. And I would hope that more people on that plane would recognize that and come to it as well, because it doesn't matter if I'm the one fighting to the death and there's more than one of them, because I'm going to lose. It doesn't matter how good of a fighter I think I am.
But like Andy says, that's contagious. You start to fight, people will follow.
100%, mate. I'm convinced that is, and you can look at case study after case study. The instant one person stands up and says enough, something has to be done. The same with United Airlines Flight 93, mate. That one guy said, and like Alan said, it's a unique situation, but up until that one man said, we can't let them get away with this, that inspired the other 8. Like at some point, one person has to say, I am making the decision to move forward, and then from that, mate, it inspires other people to go with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have seen that a couple of times, like in previous attacks in London, where members of the public have then subdued the attacker and pinned them down, and you can see videos of other people coming in and helping and stuff like that. They're not just walking by. There are a few people that are, doing their sort of civic duty to hold this nutcase down or whatever.
Yeah. Brian, with the same sort of thing in mind, like taking action without hesitation, does it ever cross your mind, like when you think I should cross the street, this looks a bit dodgy? Do you ever think, oh, I might look stupid if I cross the street? I might look, you know what I mean? Is there hesitation there?
You're conditioned to be that way, to be the appearance of doing the right thing. And like the guys were saying, unless there's that catalyst to force an action, be it good or bad, then unfortunately, from my experience, the default action is no action. People won't do anything. I'm sure I mentioned this before. We were at a beach in Ayr a couple of years ago, and there was a shape in the water, and there was me and the wife and an older couple, and they told us the shape was actually an elderly woman who'd walked out into the water. I'm like, so I'm trying to talk to her, and she's getting further and further out. The wife phoned the police. The police turned up and stood on the beach, right? And I'm like a cat in a hot tin fucking roof by this point, because you feel like you should be doing something, but then you don't want to be seen to be doing the wrong thing. So I'm like this on the beach. And I didn't do anything until the police said they weren't going to go in and they were going to wait on the Coast Guard. But at this point, this old biddy's up to here in the seawater to her neck. And at that point, I'd went in to get her. So by the time I got in to get her, the wife's shouting and bawling, there's 7 coppers standing on the beach watching, and I brought her back out. And when I got up to my calves in water, then one of the coppers had come out to help lift her out of the water. But the reason that they didn't go in to help and they didn't do anything was because their rules said they'd get in trouble if they did it. If they put themselves in danger and didn't follow the rules, they'd be looking at a disciplinary. So it's societal. A lot of the problems that we are forced. I've no doubt a lot of people on that beach wanted to do something, but they felt they couldn't. And I felt I couldn't do something until I realised that nobody else was actually going to. So I think there's social conditioning and there's a rules-based approach to what you can and can't do and what you should and shouldn't do. And we need to try and get past that.
Yeah.
I was going to say in Scotland that rule about the police not being able to enter water was something we always knew as kids. There's a big river that runs through my town, and don't ask me how I know this, but you know, if you jump in that river, the police will not follow you. And the bridge is bloody miles away. It's not even deep, but they won't follow you. But yeah, there's definitely a social conditioning thing for it. It's the rubbernecking thing as well. People see a major accident on the road and they just drive right past because they're cocooned as if they're watching it on TV. And you look at that woman that was set on fire in the subway. You know, she was set on fire in the subway in New York, and people just watched. Even the police didn't do anything because it was just like a spectacle that happened. But I think that's different. I think that's a different thing. I think what Andy's talking about is when somebody actually sort of initiates an action and looks around and says, we need to stop this, guys. I think that does trigger something different. Whereas if you see something taking place and it still appears kind of away from you and it doesn't directly affect you, there is this notion of just, oh, there's another crazy thing that's going on in the subway today. Because if you intervened with everything that you've seen in a big city like London, you'd be doing stuff all the time. And that would be really irresponsible because there's lots of crazy shit that goes on in London. I was in London about a year ago and I seen like weirdos, you know, moping around doing weird stuff. I don't know what they're doing. It's none of my business. I'm just going to walk on. But, you know, because if you have this hero mentality, eventually somebody's just going to stab you because you're interfering with, you know, their bus stop or whatever. But I mean,
plus the good Samaritan gets shafted.
Exactly. I mean, the good Samaritan in this country is not appreciated. And you'll probably end up falling foul of some sort of stupid law.
Not appreciated, but I definitely couldn't stand idly by. That's been drilled into me as a kid. You know, one of my earliest memories is my stepdad breaking up a domestic violence fight in the middle of a town, you know, sort of thing, as I was looking after the kid who was crying because his mum and dad were beating 10 lumps of shit out of each other in the middle of a town, and my stepdad was breaking it up, and I was keeping the kid like, he's okay, it's sorted. But I've had that instilled into me. I can't stand idly by. I will avoid unnecessary danger, definitely, as a prepper, but also, if I can do something, I will.
Yeah.
From my experience,
it depends who I'm with, you know what I mean? Because like everybody's aware of that guy in the bar that has to interfere with the argument that's going on. It gets involved. You know, why be that person? I'm the person who kind of just ignores it You know, mostly that's generally my instinct. But I mean, that you could perceive that as kind of cowardly. But you know, I tend
No.
to avoid stuff like that. There would definitely be cases if I see a woman in an alleyway getting raped, I'm going to try and interject and stop that from going on. If I'm walking with my 8-year-old, I'm going to be thinking I get stabbed, he's then left alone. You've got a split second to make a decision. You have to weigh up the pros and cons of your actions.
Yeah.
A split second to make it and a lifetime to regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, but I do think there's
Sounds like getting married, actually.
Great Gala.
If she's
thank you
watching
very
this,
much.
don't hurt me on camera.
Great Gala says the police use the national decision-making model, or should do, when they use force. Have a look and consider it, he says. So I'll have a look at that. Thank you for the £5 super chat. I'll just pull up a couple more of the chats before we move on. Gatwick said the Black Belt barrister was showing a spray that's legal. I believe it's a colour marker for later.
It's Fabagel shite.
Yeah, Miss Worms links some below. It's it stays on them for like 7 days or 2 weeks, some of them, and it's like it shows up under a UV light as well. The only benefit to that I see is if you do get them in the face and the eyes, it is going to be enough to stop them in the tracks, kind of thing. It's still not good enough in this country, I'm afraid. Gaswick Scuba, I did not a self-defense video with at painting preppers air guns a while ago. The criminal identifier spray seemed good, but disappointingly washed off the skin quite easy. Did you test it under a black light afterwards? That'd be interesting to know.
Stuart was asking a question. I'll answer quickly, mate, if you don't mind. Yes, it is candles. I'd bought some the other day. So it's a 90-hour candle.
Woof.
And it was £8 out of B&M Home Store, so it's a substantial candle. I bought a few. So, yeah, it's a candle.
Size matters in Brian's household.
I hope it doesn't.
You are concerned with someone with a knife. What
Cornered.
do you do? I mean... yeah.
Cornered.
Oh, you're cornered, yeah, sorry. You're cornered with someone with a knife. What do you do? Fight or flight, right? It's literally, I think Andy has already covered it and stuff like that. It's going to be a case of go and, yeah.
Plead with them first. That's always the first thing to do. Plead with them.
I'm not an expert by no means, but it would be attempt legs. One of your, like a kick, and is your like longest appendage sort of thing to keep them at distance and some sort of get away. So if you can kick them, Sparta style, and then leg it, that's one option. The thing is, there's no right answer in this situation. If you're cornered,
Depends, mate.
Go animalistic. That's all I can say. That's all you can do.
What I've said to my kids is, for an early age, somebody that truly wants your phone or your wallet or money, they'll accept that. So if you're cornered in an alleyway, for instance, like that, and they want your mobile phone,
money or your life, give them your money.
Throw
give them everything. Yeah,
throw it.
Yeah.
But don't give it to them. Drop it over there and then run like fuck. Mm-hmm. And if that's all they really want, then that buys you time, because there's nothing that you can't give away or drop or throw that you can't replace other than your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. If it's something like that, I mean, if it's just for attacking for the attacking's sake, then it's fight or flight sort of thing. Andy, if you were cornered,
the thing with this is, mate, if you're cornered, like Phil said, and you can't run, you can't get away, your level of violence, mate, and your level of aggression has to be so high that it overpowers his. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do it, mate, you have to be all in. I can't emphasize that enough. You can't go in at 3 out of 10 and hope for the best. Yeah. No, if you are cornered, mate, and you have to fight, you have to be going on 11 out of 10. Your level of aggression and violence has to far surpass what that man has with a knife to stand even a 10% chance of getting out there with your own life. That would be the only thing I would suggest. If you're cornered and you can't run, like I've said loads of times, guys, if you can run as fast as you can, for as long as you can, for as far as you can. And that is the best defense against a knife. But if you can't, then again, your level of aggression and violence has to surpass that person with the knife.
Yeah. And you'll probably find you'll get that surge of adrenaline that does that for you. You just need to be able to harness it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for any of you guys, but I've been in situations where my legs twitching because the amount of adrenaline going through just before
Yeah.
action. You kind of
It's
get
normal.
that, like, oh, it's good. It's you're right. That is the fight or flight. That's the adrenaline surging through your body, ready to go. But yeah, it's a very difficult question, Phil. But that's the best answer I think you're going to get. Anyone want to add anything to that? What Andy said there?
No,
I was just
I
going
mean,
to say that. Oh,
no,
you go
go
ahead.
ahead, Brian. But the only thing I would say is that the vast majority of people that get attacked by knives, they have a lot of injuries to their arms and things because they're trying to defend themselves that way. There's no self-defense that can genuinely take the knife off of all those videos we see people doing some weird jiu-jitsu thing and their knife drops out of their hand. It's all bollocks.
Bollocks.
Put all of your energy and all your focus into trying to get to the arm of the person that's holding the knife because that's a weak point. But if you can't do that, bunch yourself up and protect yourself because, I mean, you might get stabbed a few times in the hands and the arms, all that kind of stuff. But if you get stabbed in the neck or the vital organs, that's what's going to kill you, you know? So, I mean, if you can't get out of it and you can't run away, bunch yourself up as much as possible and scream and shout, and hopefully the guy will stop, the attack. But it's a hard one to avoid, really.
Yeah, I would go with the attack rather than sit and wait because you don't know how long they're going to sit there stabbing at you, right? So,
yeah. The problem is if you attack, though, what you're doing is you're exposing a lot of your open body, and you only need one stab to along your heart, your arteries, and you're done, and you'll bleed to death. And if you watch videos of people getting stabbed, like I do sometimes on X, it's amazing. Like, they'll get stabbed under the armpit, and you see them walking down the road like nothing's happened, and then they drop down and bleed out, and they're dead in 2 minutes. Whereas if they bunched up and they took a few blows to the arms, they'll probably live.
It depends on the situation, doesn't it? If this is somebody targeting you specifically, then you've got to fight. If it's somebody just going next person, then that might be an option kind of thing. So it's all going to be situational dependent. Avoid the situation. This is the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Don't be cornered. Don't be cornered.
The problem is a lot of this is academic because unless you're actually doing this and you've had some form of realistic training, as in somebody shouting and screaming in your face, they're not running at you from 6 feet away going like this, like some automaton with a knife, and you're blocking it and then it falls to the floor. That's absolute bollocks and doesn't happen. It'll be a screaming flurry of blades from here to here, and you can't see the arm, and you are getting cut. There's no way to avoid that. Some part of you is getting cut. But like Andy said, in that scenario, you're fighting for your life. To see your kids again, to see your wife again, partner, whatever it is, that's at the back of your mind at all points because that's the only thing that's going to keep you alive. But when you're getting cut, it'll be a wild stramash. And this is academic because 9 times out of 10, you will freeze because we're conditioned to do that. And unless you're doing some form of realistic training that somebody's been shouting aggressive in your face, then you're going to freeze. Sorry, but that's how it is.
You also have to imagine as well, Mike, how many people were on that train with families for whatever reason. Now, when you're thinking about making that decision to move forward, you also have to think, mate, who's behind you? Your wife and kids could be there. Do you know what I mean? There's certain factors, mate, that people, if you've never been in that situation, mate, you don't know how you're going to react. At 100%, I agree with that. But there's certain factors that will push you forward when you've never been in them before. Now, if you're on that train and you were there with your wife and kids on the train, and he's coming through that door with a knife, certain factors may drive you forward and take over. The fight part will instinctively kick in, like runabout gut instincts early, and your instincts kick in with certain things. So not only, mate, do you have to make the decision to face what's in front of you, it's also to defend what's behind you. Because if you do nothing, who's going to take it next? It's going to be your wife, it's going to be your kids, it's going to be other people. So that's what I'm saying with that guy on Flight 93, mate. He made the decision and he stood up and said, this can't go on. And then it inspired other people. And I believe that's what would happen on the train if someone, or in that situation, if you said enough's enough and you went forward, I think other men would go with you, or other people would go with you.
Yeah, yeah, I'd like to think so.
Like to
Especially
think
when
so.
it's something like that that is like, it's not a rare case. It's not like you're provoking that and it's going to stop if you didn't do that. It's ongoing. This is inevitable coming towards you. So, meeting it head on
It
is always
depends.
going to be
It
the best
depends
approach.
who's on the train as well. I mean, if you're in a carriage full of squaddies or footballers, then yeah, I mean that might happen. But if you're on there and it's it's a Boy Scout troop or like some pensioners' day out or something, nobody's going to jump in and help you. And if you're the lone guy in there thinking I'm going to fight this guy, luckily we originally thought it was two attackers, and it turned out it's actually one attacker. Multiple attackers is a totally different dynamic altogether. And if you go fighting that guy, well, then both of those attackers will turn their attention directly to you because you're the threat to them. So you're putting
I
yourself
think
at the pinnacle of attack.
I think without some very unique situation where it happened to be a full train full of something like that, like a scout troop or something, you're always going to get somebody. I know 60, 70-year-old blokes that would stand up and back me up and follow me down that train. I know scout leaders, actual scout leaders, that would get up and follow me down that train, sort of thing. So I think you will always have somebody doing that. And you've got to look up, like, what's. It's going to happen either way. You may as well, in my opinion.
I think
This is personal, by the way. Read the disclaimer. Everything we're saying is our own personal opinions and circumstances. We are not advising you to do anything. So just throw that out there. But I would rather go out attacking than running.
Yeah, I've never been in any of these situations. It's just hypothetical for me.
I think as well, mate, people underestimate everybody's self-preservation when it kicks in. If you're that one guy so that guy, for example, is coming through that train door, one of us has decided to charge at him. We're now in a scuffle with him. All that self-preservation of those people behind you kicks in, and at that moment, they've got a split decision to make. Do I preserve my life and go and help him and put the odds in our favour massively, or do I let that man take it on his own? The inevitable or worst case scenario happens to him, and now he's just coming at us. What do you rather do?
Now it's back to one-on-one.
Exactly. Self-preservation, mate, will kick him with not with everyone, but it'll definitely kick in with a percentage of people. Even if it's one, you've then instantly got a 2-1 advantage on him. All you need really, mate, is one person.
Yeah.
To help you, and the odds have massively changed in your favour.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a scary thought to ever be in a situation like that, and different things people will trigger at different times as well. I can remember the first time I was in any sort of situation like that, and it wasn't till something happened to a friend in front of me was when I reacted. So I didn't react to any antagonistic behaviour. Actually, something hitting me, I brushed all that off. But watching something happen to a friend in front of me made me react and then just go all out, like just lost it mode. So different things will trigger, and you might start running down that train at him yourself. But at some point, other people will join.
It's the red mist concept, isn't it? That
it definitely is.
It's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're a biker, Alan. You must have had moments where that adrenaline rush has gone through you, near misses, crashes, anything like that. And it's exactly the same thing in that situation.
Yep.
The adrenaline builds up. It's a bit of a slower build up than like a crash or something like that, but it builds up. And at the point when it gets to that boiling point, that is literally the fight or flight moment. And if you go fight, that's when you've got as much strength as your body can ever muster, as much resilience to wounds than your body can ever muster. This is why people like Brian mentioned, or one of you mentioned, sorry, getting stabbed and then walking down the street afterwards. It's because they're full of adrenaline. You don't feel it. You see videos like that. It was Alan, you mentioned it, seeing videos like that. You see it, and because they're full of that adrenaline, they don't feel it. But that is the best moment, when you're full of that adrenaline, to take action like that.
Yeah, and you're hyper responsive when something like that takes over as well. I mean, even with the bike thing, I've had some dodgy moments on a bike, and then I've actually had to pull over a couple of miles down the road because I'm suddenly it all comes, the reality of what's just happened. I've just wobbled my bike at bloody 70 miles an hour.
Legal speed.
And I've realised I've just about
170 miles an hour.
Have you ever had the crisp packet wheel slip, where you hit something like a crisp packet and your wheels like slips out for that split?
I've had the full-on front wobble and everything, the whole whoa, 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 and you just pray for it to finish. But yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. It's exactly that adrenaline spike. It's exactly the same. So you imagine that on multiple levels if everyone's going through that at the same time. It's scary, but It's the way of fighting back. Anyway, let's move on to what ifs. It's a tragic thing that's happened, and I hope everybody who's got the injuries and fighting for their life wins that battle.
Yep.
Definitely, and I hope the media stop trying to feed us a crap of lies that it was some random English guy for no reason. That's my personal opinion. But the question comes down to, Miss Worm posted it before, the petition to bring back things like pepper spray and non-lethal defence in the UK. There's a petition out there just for them to discuss it, because I have no idea why pepper spray is banned. No idea. There's no long-term lasting effects. It is just ridiculous. But what can people do in this country? Which is a very short list.
Do you know, there's only one thing I can think of that you could do on a train and the circumstances that took place. And the only thing I can genuinely think of is having, you know, now the door stoppers we've talked about with home invasions in the past.
Yeah.
Getting to the toilets on the train and putting that in the bloody, you know, in there. You know, jamming it under the door and locking yourself in the toilet. That's assuming you're by yourself. If you're sitting there with your wife and kids, you're not running to the toilet and locking yourself in.
They're quite big, some of them toilets, especially on the
city even on like the Virgin trains where it's not a proper door, it's a button and it slides shut and you lock it. The guy who's running around stabbing people, presumably as he's running down the carriage, hasn't got to waste his time trying to open that door, especially if you're trying to hold it shut. That's the only thing I can think of doing. But again, it's kind of like you're no hero by doing that, because obviously everybody else is at the mercy of the guy. But from a self-preservation point of view, that's the only thing I can think of, because we are completely disarmed in a situation like that. And the train has to wait till the train station to stop. So you can't even get off the train. You're just trapped in there with a nutcase. And it's not like an airport where it went through a scanner or nothing beforehand.
I mean, it's with a fire, you've got the window smashers. You can smash a breakable window at either end of the carriage. You can open certain doors on trains and drop down and drop out and stuff.
Not if the train's moving.
Hopefully the driver's got enough nous to stop it, which he did at a station as well, and he was a veteran as well, the driver, which is interesting to know.
He has to stop at a station. That's from what I was watching the news yesterday. They can't stop in the middle of nowhere. See, when you pull that emergency lever, unlike in the movies, that's not actually a brake that automatically comes on. It just tells the driver.
It's an alarm to the driver.
It's an alarm, and he has to go to a station, which makes sense, because can you imagine the police trying to get to the middle of nowhere to try and stop that? It wouldn't have happened. I mean, the only one good thing that kind of came out of this, if there's anything, is the police took 8 minutes to respond, which I think's fantastic. You know, 8 minutes from the first call, the guys were apprehended, or the guy was apprehended within 8 minutes.
Yeah. This aside, though, let's push that like individual scenario aside. Just generally for self-defense in this country, apart from going out and learning Brazilian jiu-jitsu, Krav Maga, blah blah blah.
Not Krav Maga, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Whatever you champion.
And that Krav Maga stuff.
Empty hand karate, Daniel LaRusso and all that. Whatever. That aside. Physically,
sweep the leg.
Preps. What can people have preps wise? And
I'm going to be controversial. Sorry, on you go.
No,
go on, Brian. Go on.
Start with controversy, by all means.
Right.
A minigun.
No, it's worse than that. I'm going to be controversial, and as much as it's a public medium, this any household implement that you decide is going to be dual use and improvised, right? Your intent will be called into question later on. If you're carrying in your satchel to work or whatever fucking bag, whatever it is, a can of wasp spray as an improvised mace, which I'm not saying you should, but if you were doing that and you've had it for 6 months in your backpack and you spray somebody in the face with it, right? You're going to jail because you've had that for the intention of doing that. It'll speak to intent, right?
Got muscle problems all the time.
Aye, and that's fine, but I would be very careful about saying I would use this for that because it's a dual-use item, because we would be naive to think we're the only people that watch this bloody show. That being said, given that it's a hypothetical scenario, and that's disclaimers out the way, it is purely hypothetical and doesn't speak to individuals' intent.
Yeah.
Me personally, I have got a water bottle that's aluminium and it's full of water, and I need to drink.
Yeah. It's when you state it as anything you carry, when you state it as being a tool for self-defense, then it becomes an offensive weapon. But if you're carrying it because you're carrying it, and it's not for that purpose, then that's
I think
fine.
there's a disclaimer as well, guys. If I agree with you both. If we're talking about you're in the middle of town one Saturday and you do something with those items, of course you are going to go to jail, right? 100% agree. If you're on that train and you whip a can of wasp spray out and you spray that guy in the face, no one in their right mind is prosecuting you. Can you imagine the uproar?
Oh yeah. No,
Like it's just not in the public interest. So again, we're just talking about proportionality, aren't we?
Yeah,
100%. If you're in town on a Saturday, don't be doing anything stupid like that. But if there's a madman with a machete running at you in Coach G, and you pull your DP out and use it, nothing's going to happen to you. I wouldn't imagine.
Don't let that hesitation cost your life.
Yeah.
Anything is fair game at that point. Yeah. I'm not a draw chalk line and Queensberry rules.
Told you it was controversial.
Yeah, no, I'll win at any cost if somebody's attacking me. If I've got to pick up a brick and it's not, a fair fight, it's tough. I've still won.
I think if a drunk guy gives you lip on a train and you hit him with wasp spray, you might end up on the worst end of the law, though.
No, but
yeah, that's what I'm saying, mate. Yeah, I agree. But if there's
a thing,
if there's a machete man chasing at you through Coach A, there was on Friday night, and you hit it with the wasp spray, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the whole point of that petition thing, right? The petition thing that we're on about, which actually, when I found it, had 140 signatures, and we've just us, nobody else promoting it. We've got it up to 306, so good going, guys. But share it as much as possible. But it's make it legal to carry regulated, non-lethal self-defense products. We're just not allowed self-defense. Do you find that ridiculous in this country?
Do you know what the problem?
The law favours the criminal.
Do you know what the problem with it is, though? People will use it disproportionately all the time.
You've got severe. You'll have. It says in it safe use guidance and heavy penalties for misuse.
I can imagine drunken women in bars and Weatherspoons pulling out their pepper spray all the time.
Yeah, but they'll get prosecuted for it. It'll soon. It's not the same women without pepper spray with a few drinks in them will pull off a stiletto and hit him on the head of that with a stiletto and potentially kill somebody and end up for the rest of their life in prison. Personally, I'd rather accidentally discharge the pepper spray than let them improvise something. The problem we have is because all of this non-lethal self-defense is not legal in this country, they're forcing our hand. The one tool they had on this train was a bottle of Jack Daniels. Yeah, a glass bottle. So we're improvising weapons to stay alive. If non-lethal weapons were legal, like pepper spray, like stuff like that, then we wouldn't have to improvise and potentially kill somebody, even if it's by accident, other than just subdue them.
Yeah, I'm in favour of it. I was just playing devil's advocate there.
Yeah.
The fact that we're disarmed is bloody ridiculous, in my opinion.
So they banned handguns in the UK because of the actions of an individual who had the enforcement authorities followed the existing guidelines at the time, that would never have happened. The guy that caused the banning of semi-automatic firearms in the UK and a reasonable caliber above 22, if they'd followed the existing guidance at the time and the enforcement authorities, that would never have happened. It's largely the inaction of those who have got a duty of care to enforce the rules. When they don't do that, something goes wrong, there's a knee-jerk reaction. Or, on the flip side, the actions of those who choose not to follow the existing laws, that they bring in even more laws for the people that wouldn't follow the first fucking set to ignore the second set. So, as a rule of thumb, Joe Blogg's public-spirited, law-abiding, 9 times out of 10 is going to get pumped straight up the tailpipe for doing the exact right thing he's supposed to be doing because somebody in their job doesn't do their job or somebody doesn't follow the rules that are there already. So we bring in even more rules for this group to ignore and even more rules for this person not to enforce in the first bloody place.
Yeah.
None of it works.
Yeah.
And worse, it actually makes it easier for the criminals like this to use weapons against a completely disarmed populace. It makes it easier for them.
100%. Yeah, 100%. We're sitting ducks in any mass gathering. This will be the second year that we don't go to the Christmas markets. We used to go all the time, but because of the way things are, and the year before I went to the Christmas markets and everything was through metal detectors and knife detectors and stuff like that to get in and stuff like that. And it's insane, the ram bollards and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, kids, this is Christmas. Ignore the armed police officers and the knife sensors and the ramming bollards. Yeah, it's definitely festive. It's
There's a couple of comments for some of our American friends and even some in the UK that they don't fundamentally understand the legislation that applies to us as a populace, specifically with things that go boom.
right.
Just so you understand, you're allowed to have a firearm purely for self-defense, if you wish, right? We are not. That doesn't mean to say you can't own firearms in the UK. However, when you get your interview, and you will get an interview, if you was to even suggest that was your primary reason for owning it, I can categorically assure you, you will never own a firearm in the UK because it is not deemed as a good reason. If anything, it would go against you as a nutcase, right? So we are not treated the same way as our fellows across the road in that regard. So it's probably worth that you understand that. It's not a choice for us. It's a choice that's imposed on us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But tell me that you mentioned Dunblane and that frigging idiot and stuff like that. Can anybody pinpoint a case that is justified to ban pepper spray? Does anyone know?
No.
Right. Someone mentioned before. There's one R, as in SA. I don't want to say the word on YouTube because it'll get red flags. But one unintentional sexual encounter a week in London, every single week. Yeah, that happens in London, at least one. Yeah, we can't.
It's birthdays and Christmas for me.
Yeah,
You
can walk down London in a miniskirt, Brian. You'll be all right.
It's like I say,
That's just at home.
any defensive tool can be used as an offensive tool as well. So if it was legal to carry pepper spray, then it would be legal for a rapist thug to carry pepper spray, and he could use that to blind a woman who wanted to attack, for example. I mean, that's the only thing I can possibly think of. But I still of the belief that we should all have the chance equally to be able to protect ourselves by all having it. You know,
It's that, and that is the problem. You've hit the nail on the head, Alan. That the way the government and the legislators look at things in the UK is, well, some bad people might do this, so all the good people will be deprived of that, right?
Yep.
So 90% of the population would probably use it as intended and within the rules. 10% wouldn't. So the 10% can still buy it illegally and still do what they want, but the 90% who would use it for self-protection, they get fuck all. So they'll still do what they want, regardless whether it's legal or not, and you're getting fuck all. That's basically how it is in the UK for anything. Whether it's blunt spoons, sharp pointy sticks, they can have them, they're banned for you. If you're caught with it, you're going to jail. If they're caught for it, it'll be in our case they talk about with a social worker.
This is the thing, and the actions they've took. Let's ban zombie knives. Let's stop ninja swords. We're taking action on knives. No, you're not. Made no difference whatsoever. Anyone with them items who was a law-abiding citizen would have destroyed, modified, or handed them in.
not to mention a zombie knife as a practical tool is more useless than a bloody kitchen knife.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, but it's good for politicians because it gets them the votes. It gives them a tagline. You know, that's purely all that. That's
what happens when the next attack is 10 times this one, and they're using large kitchen knives? Are they going to limit the size of knives we can have in our kitchens? Are you going to have to go through a license check to be able to chop your vegetables? Where does it end?
Yeah.
All you're doing is, like Brian said, is disarming innocent people. Nobody, one person with mace on that train could have made a difference. Yeah? With any sort of pepper spray could have made a difference. Like Andy, you were saying about the one person rushing them. If they were blinded at that time, then you've got two people. The odds are
Well,
completely in your favour.
Because was that your question originally, Mike? What would you use
Well,
on a train?
My question is, what can we use? It's nothing to do
Because-
with the train necessarily, but what can we use now
Well, I
legally?
use I carry with me every day. I take All Light Warrior 3, and that mate has got a strobe function on it. Now, if you use that, he wouldn't be able to see what he was hitting. So if you use that as you were moving towards him,
Yeah.
on about earlier, probability and things moving in your favour. If he can't see, but obviously you can, that's a massive advantage in your favour. Yeah,
really good
and,
idea,
and that's what I've got in my pocket. Combine that, mate, with, I mean, I'm assuming everyone on the panel here wears a belt.
Yeah.
You take that belt off, mate, and use it like a whip. That's some distance you're putting between you and the guy with the, I'm going to say your belt's going to be longer than a machete, depending on how big your waist is. But your belt's going to be bigger than.
It's my time to shine, I think.
But anything, mate, that creates distance between you and that knife is ideally what you want. But those would be two things in the main that I would suggest.
Or even wrap the belt around your hand.
Yeah,
you've
same
got
thing, mate. Yeah,
a bit of a defensive, slashing tool
Yeah.
or whatever.
See, this is, I used to get stick when I was younger, going out with my mates on the town because you know most of us would be in jeans and a shirt. It was it was Ben Sherman era. Anyone knows the Ben Sherman days, going out on the town sort of thing. That's the kind of shirts you were in. But I was the only one that had a belt that had almost like a Western size belt buckle on.
We used to get them taken off us like gloves.
Yeah, well, they didn't. They didn't.
In Scotland, they would take that off you at the door, or they did in the clubs we went to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
let's see your belt. Don't think so, mate.
Yeah.
Boots as well. You weren't allowed boots.
That becomes not just a whip. That becomes me pressing the mute button. That becomes a mace practically. And we're not saying that's legal. Like Brian says, if you carry anything with intent, you're going to fall foul of the law. But again, on the other foot, like Andy said, who's going to prosecute you if you save 20 lives? It's a very difficult line to tread. But let me get it back to prepping now. What can people do now? We've got 217 people watching. Probably a percentage of them have been scared of what's happened. A percentage of them probably use trains every day. What can they carry with them now that is not to carry with intent? I mean, people have mentioned things like heat spray if you've got muscle problems. Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about improvised weapons. I mean, what can they do? So the door wedges we've mentioned is one of them. Sorry, go on. One.
On you go, Andy. Sorry.
I would say a high quality strobe on your torch, mate.
Strobe on the torch. I really like that one. That's another great one. Yep. I've just got that Wooben one that I took to Lee's Bug Out Weekender. That is super bright.
To be fair, mate, it doesn't even have to have the strobe function. As long as it's got a tail end switch and you can tap that as fast as you can, that has the same effect as a strobe. It doesn't actually have to have a strobe function. As long as you've got a tail light and you can hit as fast as you can, it'll have the exact same effect.
I think something you could do as well, if you're commuting to work, if that's what you're doing with the train, you could put something like a plate carry in a backpack. And that can then become something of a shield, to even a gun or a knife. And you could put that in a handbag if it's a big enough handbag. Or, put that down the back of a simple backpack, like a school bag type size backpack, completely inconspicuous. And that becomes a shield. At least you've got a little
18
bit
quid.
of protection.
Most backpacks like mine now have a slot for that because it's got a laptop slot that you can slide a laptop in, but usually at the back it's got a zip as well for documents. So that will go perfectly into that.
That's 2 kilograms and it's 18 quid. Now, I have done a video shooting 357 Magnum rounds at these. 5 shots and didn't penetrate 30 metres. Now, it will stop a knife. And if you've got a rucksack on and you're going to work and that's in the back, your rucksack can come off and it can be looped round the front and it leaves your hands free. and you've got a nice improvised bit of body armor between you and the Raven Psychopath. It's 20 quid.
Yeah.
Yep.
For that
And it's
price,
also
a
heavy.
no-brainer.
It's also heavy. Swing the fucking backpack at them. I mean, that
Yeah.
will hurt. 2 kilograms being swung, but it's also sturdy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good. Great suggestions. And it's not anything. That is purely defense, right?
That's passive,
There's not any
yeah.
sort of aggressive. Yeah, it's completely passive. Yeah. So, you got that from Timu, right?
That's Team mate, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything particular they're looking for when they search for that? Because I can't put a link up to that. Is it like
It'll
level
say
3 or...
it's level 3 NRJ tested. That's a lot of crap. It'll not stop an assault rifle round, but it will stop bullets
This is
and
where
pistol
Brian has
caliber.
a horrible accident.
and it'll stop big pointy things. So it would give you a chance in an average backpack. You can take a backpack, adds a little bit of weight, you might even burn a few calories. It's not the end of the world, but it might give you a bit of comfort and security. It's less than 20 quid.
Yeah. I think some people are still not. This is another thing that we can't have over here, Dusty G. There's no such thing as a civilian stun gun. We can't carry.
It's 5 years in jail for that.
There you go. There you go. So it's another avenue that's closed off to us, kind of on that front. So we've got door wedges. We've got ballistic plates. Great idea. And the strobe torches. What else carrying wise? I mean, we talk about EDCs.
Laser pointer.
Like laser pointer. Got to be.
You know how you do your presentations at work, right? You've got your presentations at work where you're doing your PowerPoint with your laser pointer. If in fear for your life you happen to get that and shine it at somebody's eyes run towards you with a machete, then I dare say that might give the individual a moment of pause.
Yeah. A red laser dot on them, they might think it's Special Branch coming down. It's Andy on the balcony. He's the third man.
Hopefully you can still hear me. I think my camera might have gave up the ghost a little bit here.
Yeah, I can see
No,
you.
we can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly, but you're frozen very still.
I got my camera wet this week and it's never really recovered.
That's on his other channel.
Dirty preppers in the wild. For only $4.99, you can see Big Al.
I was just about to show as well. I've got a selfie stick.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah. I pulled it out and everything, but
I'll bet you did.
It's quite solid. It's an extendable.
You're not helping, are you?
This is not for radio, Alan. No, I know what you're saying, like the extendable ones and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, you might want to commute with one of them and be all vain and film yourself all the time, but I tell you what, it's got a bit of girth to it.
If you've got a YouTube channel, that is your cover right there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean, it's about tactile improvisation and stuff like that. Anything else, Andy? Have you seen like? So many people have been talking about, I'm going to get a stab vest, but you're not going to walk around doing your Christmas shopping wearing a tactical stab vest, right?
No.
So, I mean, have you seen these other things? I've gave a link to Miss Worm for them gloves, and they almost just look like gardening gloves, but they're like anti-knife / gloves. They're like £4 or £5. They could easily roll up and be put, and if you have to fend somebody off, at least your hands are protected. Something like that, you reckon?
Yeah, I think and anything, mate, that is going to give you the slightest tactical advantage and make the odds better for you to survive it just makes perfect sense. I mean, it's the whole reason why special operators, mate, do stuff at night. It's because, as they say, mate, that they own the night. They have night vision, and when the countries they're going to, by and large, mate, haven't got a good infrastructure. So when they're going to somewhere, mate, it's pitch black and they can't see, and you can see. So anything, mate, that gives you the tactical advantage. 100% use. That's why the strobe's good. That's why what Brad just said there about the plate in your backpack is good. That's why what you said, mate, about the gloves. Anything, mate, anything that gives you that 1 or 2% extra advantage.
Them three and 1v1, you're on a much better odds.
Yeah, of course you are, mate. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a plate. I'm gonna have to do it in secret though. One of yous is gonna send me a plate. All right, just so you know.
That old chestnut.
I mean, to be fair, mate, I do that. So what Brian's on about there, I do that anyway. Fitness. So in my backpack, I've got a. Have you seen those? People probably see them all over the place, mate. You know, Yomp, that company, Yomp.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I've got a weighted vest, and I just take the plates out of the weighted vest, mate, and slide it in my day sack every day. So just for fitness, I never thought about using it, as Bryce said.
Yeah. I've the weighted vests. I see them all the time with the
Yeah.
CrossFit.
It's just the
lads and
same.
stuff like that.
Yeah, same thing, mate.
Yeah. What you holding? What you showing? Telling us, Brian?
No, it's just some of the things in the Discord today. People are asking about buying Kevlar and bodyproof.
Alan, if you think you've sorted your camera, it might not register on here. You might have to leave and reuse the link to come in. Just throwing it out there.
All right, I'll give that a try then, just to see.
Yeah. Sorry, Brian. Carry on.
No, you're all good. This is Kevlar. It's bulletproof. It's stab proof. It's got plates, inserts for ballistic plates. It's heavy. You'll look ridiculous. You would never ever walk the streets with this on. You'll probably get unwarranted attention, not just from people, from the police, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, and shit hits the fan, if I was in home, I would wear that. In the street, you would never wear that. So don't buy it for that purpose, right?
Yeah.
just to reinforce that. This is not for walking about the streets on. This is for shit hits the fan and you're protecting loved ones from the doorstep. Not for going to Tesco's.
I've got visions of people commuting to work tomorrow morning in the full bomb squad outfit, you know, the whole collar and everything.
Yeah, and nor should you have to. A bad thing's happened, and it should make you more aware. But that is for shit hits the fan, end of the world, protecting the home and the homestead, not for going to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh.
The thing as well, mate, with those vests that the Bryce just showed you there as well, mate, they're extremely heavy, they're cumbersome, they slow you down. Mm-hmm. If you're not used to moving in one, mate, and acting in one, it's a whole different ball game. Yeah. So like Brian said, mate, that is purely for an SHTF at the doorstep type deal.
Yeah, and you make a good point with the mobility side of things as well. Anybody like buying anything like that, or even when we go into stuff like assault vests or webbing or anything like that, if you're not used to carrying that kind of weight and being mobile with that kind of things, it's going to hinder you more than anything else. Yeah. We've seen it firsthand. We've seen preppers get all dressed up in the gear head to toes, and you can't run more than 20 meters sort of thing. It's just... You've got to really be practical about it. I do think there's some merit to these, like I said, the gloves, because it's inconspicuous, it's subtle, you can put it away, it's irrelevant sort of thing. And I do believe the same sort of material you can even get sleeves.
For the gauntlets?
Most knife attacks are generally, the most wounds are on the arms and the hands, because people are, like Alan said before, defending themselves kind of thing. So the fact that they could roll up in a pocket in the side of your bag like this big, it's a no-brainer to get something like that, in my opinion. Are you with us, Alan?
I'm still here, but I think the camera might be done with for now, unfortunately. Sorry, ladies. You'll just have to put up with everybody else.
Big Al and his solid tripod. OnlyFans is taking a hit this week, mate.
Someone mentioned when you mentioned that, Al, the extendable batons are illegal, but it's not. It's a selfie stick, right? That's
it's not a baton. It's a selfie stick, and if you're using it for the purposes of a selfie stick, then that's what it is, and that's what you've got to hand. That's the way you have to think about all these things. It's a case of do an assessment of what it is you carry day to day going to work, and look at it, and then think about, if I was to get hit with this, would that hurt? You know?
And don't forget, your intent may well be called into question under caution and in a court of law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I had to highlight this comment because I love the word fladoodles. Gloves are non-lethal unless you're going to slap the fadoodles out of somebody.
Fadoodles, I like that.
Fladoodles, that's it.
That's Hawkins' real name, by the way, guys, if you didn't know.
Fadoodles.
That's his stage name. My tripods are designed for the weight, capacity, and strength under loads, including firearms. There you go. As is my video monopole. The video monopole is a really cool tool. I want to get one of them. They are really handy as well for videoing, of course. So, what else was on my Steuben list? Right. Okay. So, the next thing I want to talk about is what if, right? So it happens, we manage to avoid it, or it happens, they manage to get subdued. What do we then have? We're in a shopping centre, we have people around with multiple wounds and stuff like that. So it's how active are we then in protecting them? How active are we in having the stuff on us to patch up our own wounds, patch up a family's wounds, anything like that? The medical aspect of this has to be a major factor, because it's not just about, being a hero with your extendable Allen's tripod.
Girthy tripod, remember? Girthy tripod.
Allen's girthy tripods. It's not about just being a hero with that. It's about
Hard
medical
girthy
side
tripod,
things.
no less.
So, EDC wise, like, do you guys carry anything with you? I mean, I'll just show quickly. Not just from, I've put this on my wish list because I want it, but Gaz from the Discord has them already and quite recommends them, sort of thing, as a good little set with instructions and stuff like that. You can also get bleed kits like this. The reason this one's good is it's not like a military one. It's got the Citizen Aid Tawny key in there, which is a bit more user friendly with instructions. Because we've said before, you could do bad things with a tourniquet if you don't know what you're doing. And then obviously the medical kits and stuff, I've put them up because that's what I've had in the past, as well as the refill kits for them. So there's all sorts of stuff there, but I mean, it's not practical. I keep this in my car, so it is with me most times, but if I was going on a train journey, might not be as practical. So what would or do you carry on a journey like that, Andy?
To be fair, mate, before this happened on Friday or Saturday night, sorry, I wouldn't carry. I also would have, mate. I would have like, just like my I call it like my boo boo kit, mate. Like steri strips, plasters, Germaline, Savlon, zinc oxide tape, painkillers.
Yeah.
I would just have that
small wounds,
small
not
stuff,
trauma,
mate. Yeah, but I mean, after a day, mate, if I was getting on, I mean, to be fair, mate, I've got no intention of going on the train anytime soon, especially after the weekend. But if I did, I would definitely be taking some stuff out of my bigger prep box. I would definitely be taking tourniquets, Israeli badges, Celox gauze. Because 9 times out of 10, mate, if you're going on a train, you're going on a journey, aren't you? So you've either got a backpack, a suitcase, you've got something where you've got more room to store those things. So if I,
it's not like the weapon situation. It's completely legit to carry any of this
exactly,
stuff
mate.
anywhere.
Yeah. And so if I was going onto a train journey, mate, I would definitely take some things to deal with catastrophic bleeds, because unfortunately, mate, like we were talking in the Greenway before, and it was only 2-3 weeks ago we had that attack at the synagogue. Like it's genuinely happened. Like, and I don't want to sound, I don't want this to sound like hyperbole or I'm being over dramatic. At this moment in time, and obviously things are still raw and people are really upset over it, and rightly so. But I was thinking back today. I generally think at this moment in time, I felt safer in Afghanistan than I do in the UK.
Wow.
I genuinely believe that, especially when you take into consideration, mate, that when I was over there, when you what we could do, there was lads with you who were in the same mindset. You had a means to defend yourself. Everything was clearly outlined. You know what you couldn't do. And I was thinking about that today, mate. I genuinely felt more safe over there than I do over here at home.
That's
It's a sad indictment.
It is, mate, and it is, and I was debating whether to tell it. I was debating, mate, whether to say it, because, as you say, mate, things are still raw, and emotions still running high. But the more I've ruminated on it today, I genuinely believe that. Yeah, I genuinely believe that, mate. I genuinely believe that whilst I was over there for the 7 months, I was safer than I am being back home.
It's almost that. Again, I reluctantly to say it, but it's almost that Northern Ireland feeling of the illusion of safety and normality, but something could come from anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
Like the synagogue thing, I pass that daily with my kids.
Well,
You know,
I think the worst thing for me, mate, about that train journey is that me and my partner, mate, and my mum and dad, her mum and dad, we've done that exact train, mate, from Newcastle to King's Cross
Yeah, I've
numerous
done it.
times. Even this year, mate. Even a couple of months ago, mate. I think May time we went to see Lincoln Park at Wembley. So even what 4 or 5 months ago, I was on that same train journey. I think that's what triggered me. It's everything back to my time in Africa, and I generally feel that I was safer and I was better looked after whilst I was over there.
Yeah, we're definitely not looked after, unfortunately. You can praise the police response time as much as you want, but it's all reactionary, right? There's nothing in place beforehand. There's nothing stopping it happening in the first place.
Yeah, well, it's the same old thing, mate. You know, on this channel here, we all talk about don't we, prevention's better than cure all the time, don't we?
Yeah,
And
of course.
at this moment in time, mate, it purely seems that cure is the only option we've got now. We'll just wait till something happens and then we'll deal with it. We have no intention, mate, of doing anything preemptive. Like Al was saying earlier about the black belt barrister, we have nothing, mate, in this country that is preemptive for situations like that. I mean, do you know the worst thing about that? Not the worst thing, obviously, the incident is worse, mate. But like the price, mate, of a train ticket, it's like 250 quid, mate. For me, if I wanted it tomorrow, it's 250 quid, mate,
Or
one
if you
way.
get it last minute, definitely.
Yeah,
as well,
so it's 250 pound, mate, one way. Why is there no security, mate, on the train?
They can afford it, right?
Yeah,
They can
but
afford
why is there nothing on that train?
Yeah,
Well,
and look how many of these people have been on watch lists. I don't
Exactly, mate. Yeah, it's
know.
ridiculous.
It turns out that they've been on like 10 watch lists for 10 years, and they're just allowed to sort of slip by anyway. So yeah, the law doesn't seem to be doing much to stop things happening preemptively. Of course, there'll be stuff we don't see. I mean, MI5 and stuff stop terror attacks all the time. I seen a figure a couple of years ago that said they stopped 17 terror attacks in 1 year. But it's not on the media. They don't put it on the news. But you think, well,
but they're captured by that same red tape that the police are, the armed police are. They can only act on it when it becomes a viable threat. You know, when it's at all these different stages beforehand, when they could have intervened, they can't until it becomes to a point where it's like, right now we've got to jump on it before it happens. And if they mistime that, they get that wrong slightly, that's when things happen. Like, you know, the Manchester Arena. And no doubt they knew about stuff like that beforehand, but obviously things get lost track and stuff. Vanessa Kitty says U.S. Air Force medic retired. Do the right things out there. Don't just stand idle, staring or taping the confrontations.
I think as well, see when it comes to carrying like medical kit with you, like field dressings and stuff. I don't carry nothing like that, but I would carry something like that if I was, say, you mentioned what took place with the synagogue and stuff. I think if I was a Jewish person, I would be more inclined to carry something like that because I'm more of a target, or if I was, I don't know, a particular demographic that suddenly became the target, I would adapt what I do to that situation. Because I mean, really, if you're going to carry around like an Israeli bandage on a train, your T-shirt will probably do the same thing in reality. But if you've got a bag and you can put one in there and it gives you a little bit of self, reassurance, then yeah, I suppose why not? But I don't want to fall into the trap of letting the terrorists scare me to the point where I'm literally walking around tactical.
I carry it because I never want to be in the situation where it's not necessarily terrorists, it's not necessarily an attack, but if there's a car accident, if there's anything that happens, somebody like has a traumatic injury in front of me, I don't want to be the gawker, I don't want to be the looker on. I would always rather have the stuff there. The same reason I will always volunteer first to go on the first aid courses, even though I've already done them. It's always a refresher. Any sort of medical training you can get.
I've got a medical kit in my car, and I would do the same thing with there. But physically taking one around in my, my EDC, I've got a work bag which has got some EDC type stuff in there, but there's no first aid stuff in there. But I might rethink that. I don't know. But like I mentioned on another podcast, if you look at the statistics of how likely these things are actually to happen to you, or were you in the vicinity? It's incredibly low. It doesn't. We don't get the impression of that because obviously there's an increase in attacks happening in the UK at the moment. There's multiple of them, and it's an epidemic. But the chances of you seeing it are next to nothing. I mean, how many times a day does that train run, and for how many years, and how many times has this happened?
100%. Yeah, it's the same old age-old adage of don't be scared of flying because there's been a plane crash. It's still a million flights every day, and I 100% get that. But it's starting when it's been on my doorstep once, and like Andy says on the train journey that he was doing not so long before, it suddenly starts to get closer and closer to home, and I'd rather be ready if it does. Paul Thomas said you can put together a small IFAC that fits in your pocket using a 5.56 elastic mag pouch sort of thing. And Gala, who I think put a super chat in before, he came to one of our local meets for our zone, and he had like almost like the combat shorts type things, and the two pockets on them just had like medical bits like that. He gave me an Israeli bandage while we were there. I didn't need it. My arm didn't fall off. I didn't set fire to anything, Brian. He's just saying, have a look at this one kind of thing.
He's he's a top guy as well, mate.
He is
really nice, dude.
Really good guy, mate. Yeah. I met him. We met him up at the prep meet in the summer. Really top guy.
Yeah, it's funny. It's good crack.
He brought pies.
It's unbelievable pies.
They're really good pies.
See, on the first aid thing.
Sorry, go on.
I know it's all right. I understand the premise behind it.
Mm-hmm.
On the rare occasion I travel into the Glasgow office or travel by train in central London if I'm working down there, the chances of me taking a first aid kit on a backpack with some tools and a laptop are non-existent. I'm not going to do it. But what I would carry with me is up here would be the ability to improvise. You may not have a first aid kit with you, you may not have a tourniquet, but you've got a tongue. You may have a pen. You can ask somebody nearby, give me your tie, fire that round the top of their leg, get a pen, turn the shit out of it. While you're doing that, you're talking to people. Right, you, that cotton t-shirt, give me that.
Yeah,
pack the shit out of the wound.
Is definitely the best asset.
If you've got a tongue and you've got a little bit of grey matter, you don't necessarily need the Gucci kit with you if you're going to work. It's nice to have, but I don't think I'll be going into a team meeting in Glasgow with an IFAC anytime soon or ever, unless things drastically take a turn for the worse. But what I would do is improvise if I had to. So, you can improvise so many things, whether it's somebody's clothing, items of clothing, mechanical devices, pens on them. You could do a whole hell of a lot between speaking to other people and managing them to help you to manage the casualty without having bags of gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Personal opinion.
I agree with you. I like to have the stuff there, not a Gucci thing at all, but like I say, I'd hate to be arguing with someone to take their Gucci. You say the word Gucci, they're wearing the shirt. You're asking him for the shirt for a bandage, and he's going, "No, this is my newly pressed arm." Because people are like that.
Give me it, I'll tear it off, mate. Your choice.
Yeah, well, but people do put that value on physical items more than they do on somebody else's life,
True.
which is scary.
It's a selfish society. Yeah. Can I backtrack for 1 second? I've been thinking about this and it bothers me.
Yeah, can you stop telling people not to buy stuff? You're affecting my Amazon links.
Sorry, bud. Buy all the things from Mike.
I'm joking.
I know, mate. We spoke earlier on about the wasp spray as a kind of comment that if you'd sprayed somebody in the face, you would probably not be given into trouble for it or see prison time or go to court. I understand that
kind of situation.
In that scenario. Yeah. Yep. In an ideal world, I agree with that. But what I've been thinking of as the shows went on, that cast your mind back to not that long ago, where two armed coppers did the right thing, approached two aggressive men who had been fighting from the plane to the car park. Mm-hmm. Right? They were attacked from behind, from in front. Young girl was punched in the face. We didn't see any of that. The first thing that we saw was those coppers getting thrown under the bus and being given all the blame, and those in charge portraying them to be the bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
The narrative might not be the truth. That's my problem. Doing the right thing and the appearance of doing the right thing is not the same thing in the UK. They would happily throw you under a bus rather than upset a demographic, as that case showed.
Yeah.
It was only because somebody leaked the CCTV that showed what actually fucking happened that those coppers probably haven't been fired for doing their job. And that's my problem.
They've probably been put to a point where they'll get constructive dismissal anyway. They'll be on desk jobs or paperwork.
Oh, something bad will happen to them.
6 years and stuff like that. I was speaking to a serving officer at the bug out weekend, and yeah, I was talking about all of this. It's a horrible position for them to be put in. But you're right, you could be doing the same thing. We've all heard the horror stories of somebody saving somebody's life with CPR, then getting sued for cracking a rib. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody catching a baby and then getting sued off the parents because they bruised the rib of the baby when they caught him.
Criminals breaking into your house and getting hurt on smashing the glass.
Yeah.
Society is broken. Doing the right thing, you can still be arrested, charged, convicted for doing what everybody here and most people on the show would agree would be the right thing, the reasonable thing. However, things are so left-leaning that I can't help but feel you would be thrown under the bus for doing what we would perceive to be the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry, I wanted to mention that.
We're already seeing the media trying to spin the narrative just now. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard the term British national or British born used so much in a news article before as I have today when I've been following the news.
Yeah.
You know, and that's got an obvious reason why.
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly why. It's because everyone's already so pissed off in this country that they don't want this to be the match that lights the tinderbox sort of thing. You know, we're already covered in fuel, and they're just waiting for the right match, and it's going to ignite the country. And we've seen that happening already. You'd be blind not to be seeing that already. So they have to. The first statement they put out was not about the people of their lives, and not about who did it, stuff like that. Now they've just put a title on saying hero trained staff member fighting for life after stop knife attacker. Before that, the first headlines were, "It's not terrorists. It's not terrorists. It's a
And yet the first thing they did,
England."
first thing they did was declare it a terrorist incident.
Yeah.
If you've got a guy running through a packed train with a knife stabbing and putting 9 people in intensive care,
It's
by
terrorism.
definition, that's a terrorist act, right?
Yeah.
You're causing a state of terror, right?
Yeah.
It's not a state of alarm and distress, right? That's shouting in somebody's face and make them feel fucking bad. If you've stabbed and chopped up 9 people at least, by definition, it's an act of terror.
It's domestic terrorism, completely.
Yeah.
By every definition.
But
that points to controlling the narrative.
Exactly. When the word terrorism now is synonymous with religion and politics, Adney, you mentioned that before. It's got to be political, right?
Yeah, so I think that's what their get out of jail free card is, mate. There has to be a political element to it for it to be terrorism.
Yeah. And yeah, they're trying to stop the country from erupting. In my opinion, that's why that narrative's out there. Yeah. So medical wise, anyone else? Anything to add on that front, sort of thing? On the medical side of front, so like stuff to carry or courses people can go on. Anything to add?
Courses are definitely a good idea. Always take up courses. I do every first aid course that comes up in my work. I take it, just to sort of hone my skills a little bit. And I'm by no means any kind of qualified medical person, you know. But I know enough to sort of stop a bad bleed, a burn, you know. I do know how to do some gunshot wounds and things like that purely because I do a bit of hunting and things. But breaks, bleeds, burns, things like that. You know, it's a good thing to know.
Definitely. And I will mention on this one, because we have defence in the title, we're obviously governed by the powers that be hosting us right now, and the potential powers that be that are watching us right now. Hi guys. But if you ever get a chance to come along to a prepper meet, we can have different conversations. I'm just saying that because obviously we've got spaces left on the Scottish prepper meet. So you really want to come down if there's things you can't talk about. The Discord's a good place as well to chat to people. There's a private members area, even inboxing people directly and stuff like that. We're never going to condone you do anything illegal. Just throwing that out there. But we could just be a bit more open about an honest conversation without buzzwords picking up and taken out of context. That's the reason for doing that. We're also looking at a potential prepper meet, a smaller scale one, just for the prepper network, members of the network, in June. So stay tuned for details of that. It'll be a cheap, nice, small venue, which should be good for us all to do.
Whereabouts, mate?
TBC. No more spoilers.
Never been there.
Yeah, it's more or less Zone 5 kind of thing, so the north of England.
Typical Zone 5.
Ah, fuck's sake.
You've got
Great,
one in Scotland. Where
I'll need a
else do you want me
translator then for you southern softies.
The Scotland one is barely even in Scotland.
It's deep enough to get midges, sideways rain, followed by glorious sunshine, all in
nothing-
the same weekend.
Nothing south of Preston Pans is Scotland, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's a dog's dick from the border, mate. It's that much.
Depends on the size of your dog, right?
Yeah, those chihuahuas, mate, they've got a lot to answer for.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. Matty Jones, $9.99 super chat. Really enjoying the show. Thank you very much.
The best thing as well, mate, if people are wondering about coming to the prep meeting, they're worried about coming because they don't know anyone. They know everybody who's here on the screen.
Yeah.
Like we found out the Scottish meet, there was people coming up Walvis saying, "Oh, you're right, Andy, you're right, Bri, you're right, Mike," and it'd be like, "Yeah, all
Let
right."
us know who you are, though.
Hello, you. It's
watch
nice
us
to
every
see you.
Yeah. So you watch us every week, so you know us. Obviously, we know you by the chatting through Discord stuff, but we don't know what you look like. So if you are worried about coming, guys, don't be. Well, preparing the path has just said he's worried. He should be because he's a Royal Engineer. But if you're not a Royal Engineer, you're more than welcome to come. So by all means, guys, there's tickets left. Come. It's a super chilled weekend, guys. Super chilled. There's no egos there. You can just chill and be involved as much as you want or as little as you want. It's really good time, guys.
There's
If you want to sit by a fire.
There's no egos at all, but if you form an orderly queue, I'll be sat at my table with the bouncer and I'll sign autographs and take a Polaroid for a $5. But
You'll have to get in there quick though before it bursts into flames.
You beat me to that. I was just about to say that. The table would be a smouldering wreck.
Can you sign this? No, all my pens are floating in water. Where? Inside the burning tent. There's a flood.
There was a few disasters for those that weren't there or haven't heard previous podcasts. There was no airs and graces. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. Tents broke.
None by me. None my
Mostly by him. It was everybody's dead down to earth. There's no super prepper mentality. Everybody's there to learn, including us. And any demos were done lightheartedly. Q&As, it was interactive, and
there's no
it's what you make of it.
There's no form square. There's no...
Not ours, no.
Andy's not going to wake you up at 3 a.m. for a bee sting. It's not.
Hawkins might, though.
That's not a bee sting.
Be stead.
To be fair as well, I think we should have a raffle when we go there, and the lucky winner gets to dye Hawkins' hair blue again, because they'll probably need doing by the time we get back there.
Yeah, and re-pierce all of his piercings.
Yes.
Last couple of comments. If you've got any questions, you've got about 30 seconds to get them in the chat now before we go. King Edwards says, I feel more safe on my clan's island than I am on the mainland of the UK. Whenever I go on holiday, as always, being wary of my surroundings on the mainland. If you're looking
Can't argue with that
situation, definitely. We'd all love to be in a similar situation, I'm sure. Would one get prosecuted for applying a tourniquet to a terrorist's neck to stop the head bleed? No. Yeah, absolutely fine. Carry on. Liam Mack got an email from the National Lottery saying I'd won a prize. Thought, great time to move the family out of the UK. Turns out it was 30 quid. That's fine. That's enough to buy a dinghy, go offshore for a few minutes, and then come in and get a hotel. It's all right.
Oh, you cynic.
Is it knock, knock, knock? What's that? Can you carry a long walking stick in the UK, like walking around to help on hills?
Yes.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But again, context, premise, and common sense, right? If you've got a hiking pole with a spike and you're in the centre of London, they might not float your boat, that kind of thing. But definitely, yeah.
Yeah, you'll get a tug from the police. However, the 6 people with face masks on electric scooters driving past the police while they're talking to you about your walking stick, fuck all will happen to them.
And I'm the cynic.
If you are in the market for a walking stick, by the way, Cold Steel do a walking stick, which is pretty badass, which of course is purely for walking with. But it is made of a material that's unbreakable, it's solid at the top, and it's pretty cool. It's like 40 quid though. But hey.
Do you remember back in the good old days when you had the sword cane? Now they're illegal. Shocking.
Go figure, eh?
Go figure. I don't see the problem with it. I might want to be walking along and suddenly cut a giant block of cheese. You never know.
It's called the Irish Blackthorn walking stick for anybody who wants to look up. I just quickly had a look there. Cold Steel Irish Blackthorn walking stick. It's badass.
There you go.
I do have a dodgy ankle, I'm just saying.
Get one of them. Honestly, look at it. You'll want it the second you see it.
Either that, or you could get a mobility scooter with Boudica spikes.
I'm just slightly nervous at any link for Alan that says long black heart thing. Right? I'm after his earlier comments. I've slight concerns. I'm not going to lie.
I've got a whole collection.
Is it like when you get a crossbow and it comes with the free lube?
I ain't pulling no string.
Yeah. As you can see, we do have a laugh on here. It is a serious topic and it is a genuinely serious discussion. We are all open for your questions, every single one of us on the Discord group. So by all means, pop us questions in there. We'll do another Prepper Fireside Q&A very soon. If you've got something you want to save till that, then do so there. We try to be as honest and open we can. We try to have a laugh because if we didn't right now in this country, we'd just cry instead. So we try to see the light-hearted side of things and keep calm and carry on.
It should be fun. It should be fun.
Prepping should be fun, but it feels more essential than fun at the moment, Brian, I'm afraid. So we try and do what we can, but it's getting to that stage where it feels like necessary more than fun at the moment. Andy, any final thoughts and goodbyes to the 180 people still in here watching us yabber on?
I think it's been said in Discord, guys. The way the world is at the minute, I think keeping your head in the swivel is a great mantra to live by at the minute. And situational awareness, guys, is probably the most effective prep you could have right now. Especially after what happened at the weekend. So thanks everyone coming in the chat. Look after yourselves, and we'll see you on the next Fireside.
Brian, would you like to say any final thoughts on the subject and goodbyes?
Yeah, no, it's good to see everybody. It's a Sunday. Everybody's got work tomorrow. You've got kids to get ready for school. To spend 2 hours of your time here listening to our shite is appreciated. Overdue doing
it means top quality content. That's the translation of shite.
I really don't. But anyway, we'll go with that. Overdue doing a Q&A talk live on solar and renewable energy and generators and shit. The last one I cancelled because I was ill. I'm going to aim to do one for this Friday. So if he's at a loose end on Friday, I'm going to do a live Q&A on solar panels, inverters, power banks, emergency power for prep and that sort of shit. So
excellent. Thank you very much. That's awesome. And Alan, any final thoughts and stuff from you?
I think really just not to let the fear and anger of these kind of things when they happen, completely consume you, because the terrorists of the world and things win if you do that. And I was going to say as well, like Brian beat me to it earlier, but what he was talking about trusting your gut instinct and trusting your instincts, that genuinely is, in my opinion, the most important thing when it comes to awareness, situational awareness, perceiving what's going on and looking at your surroundings and stuff. So I would always encourage that and ignore the media. And if you're interested in watching me fail at wild camping, I'll post something next week about that where it all goes down.
Get all the fails out the way now, because you're responsible for all our safety when we're drunk on an island and the lot. Yeah, from me, thank you very much. I've just reposted the link to the situational awareness book. It was £2. It is now £0 in light of the situation. I don't want to charge anyone for it. Please go and download it while it's free now. Have a look at it. There's some simple exercises you can do to get yourself used to it if you're completely new to it, or even if you're more advanced, it might be a refresher. Completely free. Please go and click that link. Please download it. I want everyone in the network to be as safe as they possibly can. And any feedback, constructive or whatever, please send it to me because it'll go into version 2 when it comes along. Thank you again for these guys joining me. Go and check out all their channels that Miss Worm's been linking in there. Thank you to Miss Worm, our awesome moderator. And yeah, we'll play it. There you go. That's our awesome moderator, Miss Worm. If you want to go and hear some scary stories, take your mind off the reality of the world at the moment, it's the perfect place to go to. Thank you for all my guests joining me. I will reiterate again, that link for that guide is completely free. Please go download it, share it, send it to friends, family, whoever you can. The more people safe, the merrier. And we will see you in a not so serious fireside maybe next time. See you later.
Laters, guys.
Bye.
In the glow of embers dance, we've prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue. Prepared for every chance, living simple, living true, with the dream we all pursue.
I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian! I'm Brian and so's my wife! Right, take him away and release him. No, I'm only joking. I'm not really Brian.